Hello and welcome. It is the 29th day of May 2019. My name is Derek and welcome to the Money Charts channel where all bets and trades are within each his own risk and their own reward. For myself, risk reward management is always job number one. Amongst the Bitcoin daily chart, price action almost came back to where it came from today, but it kind of did on a pierce above. Amongst the movements of this, we can see just about 3 days of going sideways, grinding lower, and albeit small pause volatility, and in such barely going down. Now, what happened at midnight last night was a little bit of a decline, or what's looking like a failed breakdown, and there was a lot of them back in 2017. A failed breakdown is when you break down a key level of support noticeably, like it did in here, and then you quickly come back into where it congested, and it's only at the bottom area for it now, or it's in battle amongst the 18 highs. But it took 5 consecutive periods, consistently great green candles each time to get to the highs. And then that looks better. And then it took 3 periods going sideways, just right in here, and hanging in there within the 18 high. So it's a strong overall rebounding setup. And getting above here, oh, and I'm not going to say it's going to go big, but it could. It just means getting above here means you're back in this range. And if I'm talking about a failed move, fast move, or setup, in a spot like this, I'd be looking to the previous high. Fast move would get you to 89.28. Not like this is a fantastically large breakdown and everything. So I would think if it's able to have a fast move, just a good breakout above this high. So normally, like in the not too small, big and high, just an okay move would be 87.90. But I'd be expecting a good move, and I think the minimum for a good move would be previous high based on that failed move. Lots of things to go over, so that will be it with Bitcoin for this video. But I'll go to Bitcoin dominance next. And no, because I was like, oh, the 15-minute time frame. I mean, why am I not showing it? I looked at this beforehand. It's like, yeah, so magnificent. So there's that down move, and it just quickly gets it back like that. That's what bull markets do on the declines a lot of times. And we weren't getting really any of this action post the highs and correctionary phase. And as I'm not writing, as I'm making this as of this time, it looks like a possible good setup in just that second alone at 86.64 of looking like, oh, it's possibly ready to break out above, and thus, of course, the high 8,000s would be the next short-term test. And 10,000, of course, is the big number I've been talking about pretty much since the bottom even. Let's move on to Bitcoin dominance. And, I mean, what's up with this here on May 17th? Why is there a line here stating the low is 52.39? That wasn't there before. Is this a situation like sort of like in the stock markets and the all of these financial markets, how you reassess unemployment, like you edit them after the fact? That's the type of thing that I was thinking. But that's just a meh whatever. What I think is important here is how after finding support at this 20 or 38.2% down move, and having this little bit of not so great volatility in the middle part of this correctionary range, because a high volatility pretty much ended here and it started to regain itself, I think, on May 27th or 2 days ago. But I see it right now having it possible, looks like a good chance of breaking down below the 18 lows and Fibonacci at the same time. This is the third day and showing the in that situation, so it's had a lot of time within that general area, as we can see amongst it on the 4-hour term. So I think there's a decent chance that this can make a move down to here. Most likely that would mean Bitcoin going sideways slash small gains to that of mainly what I would think there's a good chance that altcoins could be ready to go just based on this look in here. But let's take a look at a few of them right now. The rest of the coins will, other than Litecoin, will not be against the dollar. They will all be against Bitcoin. So let's start off with Litecoin against the dollar here, as we have a situation in which it's been doing very magnificent. It got above this 63 and change after piercing below it and resisting for quite some time. And then we see it go north of 60, up to close to 100 an area. I thought, yeah, there's not going to be much resistance at 100. Yes, there was. It comes back down, trying to come back to where it came from. I don't even think I want to call that a pierce above. That is much. I guess I could. Oh, it's just so far away. But it had a correction nonetheless, going down to 66. Retested this area here. Well, it was, yeah, retest here because it was, yeah, perfect, most certainly. May 11th, it comes back to that level. It made this statement on May the 3rd. Okay, we're going to try to retest that level. It did so because it got above the 18 average of highs noticeably, especially after May the 4th when it consolidated its move mostly above and barely below the 18 high. So that's like the statement. Oh, I'm going to do it. Okay, buddy, let's see you do it now. Okay, it has this little bit of a correction. Okay, make sure you don't fall below this, baby, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be so slippery, you might say, if you can't get below this line here at 872. Oh, okay. Oh, nice job, you. Okay, then on this level, it got right up to a pierce below this high. Okay, well, good job. You did it. And then you settle in for a few periods, and then if we go back to this one in here, you're like, hey, I know you're not saying you want to break out to 126, but the way I look at it, I'd be saying it looks to me like that's what you want to do. I think I can see just by looking at you that you're just antsy, ready to do that. And the next day, okay, that's a statement because it got noticeably above this level of resistance it just recently corrected the days before. So that's the statement, sort of like the statement back in here, that the goal is to get to here, usually pierce extra. And so far, the statement was done, and just like before, has a little bit of a fall, but it doesn't fall below that slippery 18 lows. And then it makes, okay, it looks like it's getting its job done, and it's doing it as it breaks out above on May 26th. And it completes part of its work on there. And it's now 2 days going sideways, but we can see this session here, nice little line-ish kind of move. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this back to normal size and put this on shorter term time frames. Yeah, well, that's what it was, just a small little down move in here going up, I guess. Well, okay, same little thing. Not as big of a failed move on Litecoin. In fact, it's hardly to call one much at all, given the fact that it just had a small blimp below it. I mean, yeah, I guess you still do count that because I can technically put that line at 110. I can put a small box, but regardless of the fact, it has this move down, instantly recovers it into the 18. Then it holds the highs, breaks out, supports it, and is lifting it off right now. Nice, nice setup. And onto the charts against Bitcoin. First the Litecoin one, and a beautiful setup, I must state here, as this line in here is Fibonacci from this high and this low, and looking at the weekly term time frame. Struggling within its slippery 18 average of lows, but it's got above it now as long as its feet can hold on. It's a little wet, but it's pushing up above nicely. And, well, any type of move short term, I'm looking for this to go to 14. I'm thinking, why does this make sense? No, that was like a weird warning, just waking up an hour and a half ago moment. A move that it can do on the short term, I'm looking for resistance here at 14.7. It's back to where it came from. Maybe a little bit more, especially if Fibonacci's in that area too. But at least to the 14.7, which means up towards here. And you know what? Just using the blind eye test, you have this little area. If it's going to break through this sideways congestion area in here, where's it going to go? And yeah, somewhere like that. Looks just right. It's almost like the three little big pigs. Not too small, not too large, all that, not too hot, not too cold, just right kind of deal. Okay, so let's move on. Bitcoin Cash is continuing to consolidate amongst this major level of resistance. It might be Fibonacci, but I just drew it in there because it's obviously been hit about 22,485 times, maybe a little bit less. You get the idea. It's holding this 18 average lows, and it has been since it last failedly broke below it. From the dates between May 9th, completed on May 11th. So for the last 18 days, it has attempted and failed to get and break and hold above, really to even just break for that matter, above this level of resistance, and barely hold it even. But it has also succeeded or failed to break below this 18 average of lows, and it's only had a couple of tests on the lows. The first one in here for 2 days, and this one for 4 days, finishing what looks like today. But it's now after the last 3 days down here, managing to get back up to this high. I mean, so many times it looked ready to go. On these 2 days here, I mean, really? I mean, it could have been live on this day to go. But you're like, yeah, okay, Dave's going sideways. I'm like, okay, it's live this day. Oh, no. Okay, it's live this day. Oh, no. Okay, it's live in here. No. Oh, back in here. It looks live, baby. No. Oh, and we're live again. You get the idea. Now, Dash may not look too bullish by any means, but it's attempting to do that. Band flattening out, established resistance, come back to the support. This is day number 4 within its area, and it had an attempt to grow the highs. If it's holding the 18 but getting above in here, it looks pretty good. I actually accumulated a little bit earlier this morning because we'll get to theta in a bit, but I'm going to be doing these in alphabetical or chronological order. DGB, relatively similar within Bitcoin Cash. It's only hit its resistance about 2,800 times. No, 42. Trying to be a sarcastic high number. I mean, it's only here. It comes up to it fast in one day after being at lows not seen in such a significantly long period of time. And then after hitting a pierce below that high, it successfully corrects the 18 over a span of 5 days. On the 6th day or the day thereafter that, it makes a move, barely piercing below the previous high and piercing a little bit below than more, that is, a little bit more below than 195. But then over a 3-day sideways correctionary phase, stand above the 18 average of highs, bullish flag kind of deal. Major attempt, just like Bitcoin Cash. Oh my God, it looks ready to go kind of deal. And I thought it was. I mean, it wasn't. It now pierced above the 195, pulled back very aggressively, but just on the 3 little bears again. Uh, as far as aggressive, not too small, not too large, and just right. Well, I'm looking just for small. As far as the smallest type of aggressive pullback, that's about as small as they can get. Just gets like the 18 average of closes. A medium one or just right would be to the 18 average of lows or a pierce above it, and an aggressive one would be a decent break below. So the minorish aggressive move that holds, I think that's a very bullish situation in itself. And now 3 days of just hanging in there. It is floating below the 18 average of highs rather than sticking with it. So I think it needs, and I'm going to take a look at this short term just a little bit. It's attempting it well right now, but it really needs to hold and stay above 189, 190 for a good period of time for this to be a very live setup. Like, okay, ready to go. But until then, right now, it still looks more bullish than bearish. It would just look a lot better if it were to do just that. And then again, the break above 256 is my next target, and usually pierce extra. Ethereum is much like Dash as far as its pattern. Much more aggressive on its breakout. It was at big time lows going from 245 to 348. And then a span of several days, first supporting the 18 average of highs area, then breaking below, now supporting the 18 average of lows. A little bit above it, but it too has a bit of work to do. It's got to get above the 314.7 at least. But getting up to the 18 average of highs is a statement. Okay, a statement like you might want to regain the trend. That's just it. It's a resistance level. But the more it holds and stays above like 316 and below a pierce above 320 or 322ish, whatever, then that's just, a really good setup. And then if you see it like 327, it's already made a statement that it wants to be bullish by this move here. So we're working on stage number 4. Is that the statement is I'm doing stage 4, which is break of established resistance, and that would be the case. Because whenever a market does it, I'm like, what's the story? It's like a poker comparison where when I was playing the game of poker, I would be like, okay, what's the story to the hand and everything that I've seen here? What is this person trying to tell me? And how can I make the most sense of it? So that's why I think of it this way. What's the story of what I see amongst the charts? Moving on next with Komodo, and it's making a statement right now. The statement is it wants to do stage number 2, establish a level of resistance. For since the last high in March, and it had this big phenomenal move up to here. And then it really doesn't have much of an attempt to break out above. It's able to hold and go sideways for a bit, but after breaking down on April the 2nd, resisted in here, pulls back. After going sideways in here, attempts a breakout, failed breakout, fast move lower occurred. And then now, since this low, it's had multiple support, about two times at this exact low at the 13.8 number, then once again at the low 14s here for several days. But when it was doing that, it was just supporting and hanging in the not as declining 18 lows, but still declining. And then the move on May 26 was it was too weak of a move to say it was um, for stage number two. It, if it was an attempt to break out, boy, did it fail fast, but it didn't fall any further. Thus, what it did is it did flatten the band out convincingly over the 2 days that followed up to yesterday. And now, within its session today, after all this sideways consolidation past couple of days, and it has managed to retest that quick level that it fell down fast from. It's got a nice little uptrend over the last 4 days. That to me, this thing looks ready to go for possibly testing some of these upper areas. And yeah, this looks like a possible good setup, or it's got a good probability odds of having a good move of, say, well, what would be a decent move? Just one leg higher would be like 400 basis points. So that's like 25%. So I think there's a better chance that it hits like 2000 and like 2040, 2050 than it does of going down to like 1310, which is 20% down. 25% up is the same as 20% down. But we'll see. The market will do what it does, and if it goes higher, I'm looking to sell it for Litecoin. Now let's move on to SkyCoin, which is just like a whatever coin I played. I liked it because of its volatility. I liked it because I was happy with its wallet where I control my private keys on the SkyCoin wallet that they have. I like it that it's very cheap to send it off the Binance exchange, and even obviously from your own hardware wallet. But it's always going to be cheaper to send it from your hardware wallet or your ledger of some sort than it is from an exchange. And fast movements, like 2 minutes to send to Binance. Yeah, I can handle that. Not even less than that. But this volatility after this down, 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 straight down move from the May 14th lows has just been sick. This day alone, we have a high of 270, a low of 133. Yeah, a little over a 2x move. And the next day, it retests that same high, piercing above it with a low of 185. Not as big volatility. I take 15 from that 185. That takes me to 2. 76 plus 15 is 91. 91 divided by 185 is almost 50%, because 92.5 is. So about a 48% volatile day. And from that point, just decent up and down choppy moves. Where if you're looking to be trading this on really, really short term 3-4% levels, there should be a lot of opportunities for you. I'm not. I could, I just don't want to. And then breaking above this here, okay, that's attempt. Nope, didn't do its attempt. Doesn't go to the lows. I mean, it's a really fat 18 highs and lows, but that's what happens when you have big volatility. And I like big volatility. So up to this level of highs, and then this move in here, nice a few days ago. But it comes back, but it's holding, and it's showing strength at the 18 highs. So since this move, that's what we've been seeing the last few days. And I wouldn't be surprised that if I were to see this go north of 340, 350, which means in one day, if I see 30, 40% up, I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I guess I better see where my Go coin is. It's not doing as well. And maybe I'll be selling some of this and buying the Go. Okay, next up is Tron, and I am going in chronological order, but I'm saving Theta for last, and technically Tron is after it, but... Okay, this downtrend, yada, 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 yada. Now we have a band flattening out, signing support on the 18 lows. Market has this attempt to revert the trend. Do I count this as established resistance? It's very close. I have a hard time doing so, but it's noticeably, but barely above this 18 average of highs. I mean, in this case, it's hard to. I mean, this went straight down. When this thing is ready to go, this could go. And remember what I've said so many times before. And I'm going to say two different things that I've said before. Number one, when markets go, they go. And markets usually go up a lot faster than they go down. Well, from this high here on date like February 4th, it looks like, it took February 4th to May 13. That's 3 months and another week or so. A little over 3 months to go down. So I would expect about a month or less to get it all back. Even a month and a half maybe. But yeah, they usually get it faster. I do like the setup in here for it's holding and staying on the 18 average of highs for a couple of days. So definitely looking like a good possible setup moving forward. And that's what a lot of these coins are having, are the big setups. And Theta, well, that's in the same ballpark. I end up selling a little bit earlier today. I sold about 1805, 1810 area. As I think it was even a little. Let me just see. As if it matters. And it was 1821. Which earlier before that, like, let's just. I mean, this is live on the 1 minute time frame. So I would have sold it up here at 1820. No. What's this high? Had to, because I missed it just a few minutes before. I had a sell order in for 1844 that missed. And then I took 1820 after that. So this would have missed when I was, because in here, this, I wasn't happy at 1768 down here. I was looking to sell originally here for like 18 low change up in here. I wanted at least minimum 1800. So when I seen this, I'm like, oh, geez. And then I withdrew like my theta like around like here somewhere, like 837, 838. Then it hits my, maybe even 838. It takes a minute, less than that, to take it to the exchange on Binance. It took me more time to log on to Binance and then go to my deposits, get my key, as well as go onto my Theta wallet, log in, paste the address, put the amount in, push the send, put my password in. It took me much more time to do that than it did to actually have the funds go from the send button to available to sell in my Binance account. So yeah, I would have missed it here. Now this had to have been a high of 1820. Yeah. So this high is 1829. So I would have sold it on 853. That's where I would have sold it, right in here. And then I immediately bought Dash afterwards. And now I'm not going to be able to sell any of this for Litecoin because before this was 1710. My last update, just a little after this, was 1800. And it tells me that I only have a 9.41% move since last trade, which means it's not even close. For me as a trader, yeah, a little close on Litecoin. It needs to get to 25. See, when I seen Dash Theta this morning, it was at like 25.74, and I'm like, I want a bit more than that. Of course, it got reset because I traded at a ratio of 1058 because I took the amount of Dash that I sent to my hardware wallet, so the Dash that I bought minus the 0.0002 or whatever it is, and then I ended up taking that to Binance, dividing the number, and that's what the ratio was. So Bitcoin Cash Litecoin, my last trade, although it technically wasn't, yes it was, 448, so the ratio is going down. That means Bitcoin Cash is overperforming Litecoin. Yeah. Then we got Bitcoin Cash DGB at 11%. I last trade at 30,000. So DGB is overperforming it. And then Neoflorin, this one was a little sick because it got up to 23, 24% for me. And I was just waiting for Florin to go down, and then it goes up like 15%. It's like, thank you. No, not really. But that's what markets do. And for a while I've been waiting on this. This has been sticking at like 15, 19%. Looking to, this is wrong. I gotta fix this one up here. No, last trade. No, it's ratio. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm thinking. Yeah, I don't know what I was. Yeah. So this has been like 17% for a little bit. I'm looking to sell Litecoin for Vercoin. Not a big fan of Vercoin because of the time it takes to send coins to the wallet or to Poloniex or Bittrex. It's like a day confirmation. Literally, it's really bad. But I'm doing it anyway, and unfortunately, what that means is I'm leaving about 20% of my Vertcoin on the Poloniex exchange, which sucks, but that's how it is. Sky Go 6.25%, and let's move on to the Theta again. And before I do that, if you're really interested in wanting spreadsheets like that, I can't make them for you, but if you have any questions, I can explain to you how I do it a little bit, and so on and so forth. So 1 minute theta has been giving it back down to below 17. I guess what I could do is I could go like this, and I could type in 1700 because that's a decent decline now. That would make the LTC theta go down from 9.41, and that's going to make the dash theta go much higher on 9.1. Yep, so this is now near last trade, and I'm already up 6.84% since that last trade, as I guess I bought at 10.58, and I'm looking to sell at, well, 25% higher than that. And this move that we've seen, well, it started at 6 o'clock. Fast move higher, and it's now just giving a decent amount of it back. But now we're just now getting to the 18 lows on the 15. And one thing, if you want to do in the day trading, is, and this is very difficult, which ones to choose. Do you choose for Fibonacci? Do you choose this low at 130 as a day trading low, or the breakout lows? I would prefer the breakout lows, and that is in at 1500. High divided by low. So 1918 divided by 1500. You then route it to the Fibonacci levels you're looking for. The main ones are 61.8 or 0.618 and 0.382. And then the 0.2376 and 0.764 I find valid as well. So for this run, it's 1648 and 1746. Okay, 1746. Why didn't that line click when I pushed the button? Okay, there's a 1746. And we can see that it hit perfect support there. So the validity of this looks pretty good in the early stages, 1648. And here I am drawing this without even, most likely, I can day trade this anytime I want. I think that so many times when the situations are available, do I do it? I guess I could. Well, that's where it's going to go down to any further if it's unable to make a failed breakdown here. Because once I see this, if this is the bottom, it's either probably going to either go down to 1642 or up to the 1746 that was support and will act as resistance, coinciding, of course, with the 18 highs, and then break down below the lows and most likely pierce below 1649. And just for fun, haha sakes, this was 1741 of a low, so it did technically pierce below it, which it usually does. Now I want to see short term how the 23.6 number acted out. And that's the 764. That's 1810, which is, well, that was the area I was engaging at. Let's put in the 1810. Where's my line? I see it. Close enough. So amongst the 5 minute term time frame from this high, it came down there, supported it on this period. How about the one? It supported it on the one originally, and then it fell right back down to this fib. And that's like I state, you come to one, and then going to the next one is that's not uncommon. So you go, and whether it happens here, it attempted to do so here. I guess it pierced below. And it did resist it in here. You support it here, and then for 3-4 minutes you end up resisting this level. down to key fib again, piercing it above, but not holding the 18 as we can see in here. So a lot of, right in here, when you're looking at it between 853 to 855, it was looking like, oh, this thing might be ready to go and retest the high 1800s, 1900 level. But then when you see it breaking down below, has a sideways move, price action through time, corrects within the 18, falters here at 917, correction, correction, and just keeping on doing so. A little bit of a more progressive look at the one as it is barely attempting to flatten out the 18 average, given it's had an okay up period here, and it's been finding support at these levels. But I mean, if it's got to hold and stay above like 1706 for a while. You see the red candle coming in right here. I'm looking whatever. This is all short term for what I'm doing at this stage. And I did, because of all of this, make it a 30-minute video, which my plan was 24 to 26. But it's not that much over, and I'm pretty much almost done. So within all of this, as far as I want to put this on HUOB because I have more data and I got all the lines on there. Like a lot of other coins, they've been hit hard and still relatively cheap. This one in here had, of course, this original high when it first came out, but it's hard to really count much on that. Gain number one to the May highs and then pulls back. This November 30th move, that gave it all back, pulls back. This phenomenal move in January. And I mean, it looks so bad on the hindsight because of all the stuff I talk about. Uh, I mean, hold and stay above this, but if it's really good, I'd kind of like you to, because within this 18, I'd want you to hold it higher because I want you to hold and stay above this slide. When you break this, if you go to subnormal spot. But when I go to the too high, too low spot situation, that was pretty high, which is good as a trader. But why didn't it correct even that area here at 1865? And there's no buts about it. Yeah, yes, there is. Yes, there is. Or excuses. No excuses. There's the word. There's the word. That's the word I'm looking for. The excuses. Well, Bitcoin's doing amazing. So this is priced against BTC. It has its own fluctuating prices as well. And there has been many times before, not only during the 2017 run, which I was a part of and seen firsthand and traded, but even when I look back historically at even previous times, like around 2016, where Bitcoin has its move first, and altcoins hang in there against the dollar. Thus, when Bitcoin has a rate of ascent like that, and theta has a rate of ascent like that, that's going to cause those down moves. When Bitcoin goes up 60, 70%, and you're making 15, 20% gains, well, you're going to lose half your value. Thank you for tuning in to today's first video. I mean, it's not likely I'm just going to make one today, especially with volatility looking damn sweet. And have yourself a great midday day. Bye-bye.